Hi, welcome to Queer Reality Tarot. My name is Ro, and I'm going to be doing 3 readings today. You'll be able to pick between 3 cards that'll lead you to either reading 1, reading 2, or reading 3. I have been, I don't know about you all, let's see, what date is this? It's February 26th, 2026. And I think Mercury retrograde started on Wednesday, yesterday, which I personally feel like I started feeling evidence of it on Saturday. That's when things started to kind of be challenging. For me, it started out with just mobility, like getting places. And then I ended up just, I don't know, being so kind of scattered that I kind of screwed up. At least I've done one thing every day that's something I screw up on that negatively impacts at least one other person. So usually I kind of try to push through, like kind of distract myself and get through when Mercury is in retrograde. But with just all that's going on right now, I'm more kind of noticing like what are the same patterns that are coming up, to help me kind of look at what do I need to shift in myself. A couple friends of mine directed me towards some YouTuber, like astrology folks, and they were talking about how this is a really good time to look at your North Node, which is something that at least in my world, it doesn't really get talked about that much, but it is so super informative to kind of look at where we each kind of have like our repeating hurdles, like kind of like if you've heard of the Chiron, like wounded healer, it's kind of like that which are our biggest wounds is kind of are also our biggest gifts, or how we can bring healing to others, kind of that alchemization of wounds into gifts. Because here we're coming out of the year of the snake, where it kind of felt like, okay, we're shedding all these things, and now we're going to come into the year of the horse, and things are going to flow and go fast, and it's going to be go time. But here we are in eclipse season with the Mercury in retrograde, and we're still like the things that we need to let go of are really coming to the surface, that we're feeling really intensely. And so that's as a collective within the like political system, also environmental, like just thinking about the ways in which, well, basically I was thinking recently how just really being reminded as I was going through all these kind of tough feelings, how I feel like I'm kind of getting better at feeling into my inner anchoring, feeling into this kind of like not being so alone, like remembering that I have the ways in which I'm supported, that we're in this together, that I need to remember to do certain practices to help myself feel more grounded. And like in cultures that haven't been colonized, or I mean, that's my experience where I am, is that colonization kind of takes away the roles of like the societal roles of somebody who would show us how to get through those times and have that inner anchoring, and have practices where we're in balance with the earth, and therefore with ourselves and our bodies and others, so my point, or kind of why I felt guided to do these 3 readings for folks, is that there's a lot going on, like not like it's like it's so intense, and my hope is to just kind of bring some guidance, or something to come through the cards to kind of help folks feel inspired, nourished, held. What is it that you need to be reminded that's kind of like you're the wounded Chiron, like that which is ready to be alchemized, let go of, and that part of that could be, there's a lot of emotions coming through right now, a lot of my friend reminded me that the Mercury in retrograde is in Pisces, and so there you might be feeling a lot of emotions, and that's so important. So I don't know what your spread is going to bring you, but I'm kind of feeling like it's going to be something related to just to support you as you're going through this really intense time. I mean, in my lifetime, I don't think there's ever been a time where so many people are impacted by something challenging, like some kind of reckoning or a realization. It's just very intense. So I'm hoping this will be supportive to you all. So, okay, so I'm going to show you the 3 cards. So you're going to, like with all the other readings, you're going to look at these 3 cards without thinking too hard. Just kind of feel which one shines a little brighter to you, which one really calls to you. And then that will be your reading. And then there will be the chapters down below. So if you got reading 2 or 3, you can just skip ahead to your particular reading. Before we get to that, I just really quickly want to plug, if you can like and subscribe this video, that'd be really helpful. It helps me and it helps folks connect with me. And also, I just wanted to let you all know too that I do party and events tarot readings, which are so fun, where it's like people get mini tarot readings, like 10 to 15 minutes a pop, a lot like what you get here, but it's a one-on-one. And I'll put my website in the notes here too. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And I do one-on-ones, good old long sessions too, not just parties and events. Okay, let's get to the reading. I'm going to switch cameras and get my lights on here. So go ahead and start looking at these cards. So this is going to be reading 1, reading 2, and reading 3. I've covered up the words here, but I'll show them to you when it's your turn to do the reading. I also have a new deck I'm excited to share with you all. So if you're somebody who is new to tarot and it can be kind of overwhelming. I'm going to switch cameras for a second. It can be kind of overwhelming to pick out a deck. But one thing that I've learned when I first started doing tarot, and just the way I am, I tend to kind of skip over introductions or instructions. I'm like, yeah, let's just get to the thing. But I've learned that actually it's really rich to read the introductions or the beginning of the books that come with tarot cards, because they oftentimes have a unique angle. So the Muse deck, this is the deck that is my go-to for doing readings for folks. At first, I didn't really think I was into it, honestly. I feel like it was like a little too femme for my taste. But for whatever reason, the images really speak to me. But also, when I read the intro, the Muse is about inspiration, like kind of so the cards kind of pull you towards what your soul really came here to do and what it wants to pull you towards. And then this new deck that I got is another example. This one's called the Spellcasters Handbook. And this one, the angle is using the cards as kind of like spell making. Like, for example, there can be a card that you get that you literally turn upside down because there's something in the meaning of that card that you want to release to the earth to be composted. So I'm going to do, let's see, I think I'll go ahead and do a 5-card spread. That's kind of my jam. I try to do 3 cards, but I feel like 5, I kind of get a little more of the chiseled whole picture. And then I'll do 1 spell card to go with that. Okay? Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the first reading going here. So I'm going to go ahead and set reading 2 folks aside and reading 3 folks aside. And go ahead and release the words with this. So I embrace the all. And I'm going to wait until I get the reading more into it before we kind of see how this card fits into it. But this is kind of our little starting point here. Okay. And just as a reminder, this deck, oh, okay. These are going to come out. So we're getting a little extra message from Spirit. Oops, let's get these in the camera. So we got the 6 of Inspiration. Oh yeah, this relates to what I was going to say, is that with this deck, Inspiration would be the equivalent of Wands. So 6 of Inspiration, aka 6 of Wands, and then 5 of Materials, aka 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the 5 cards. spread here. Okay, we're gonna go with this one. Okay, get these off to the side. These are your bonus cards that I'll get into in a little bit. Okay, so we have current situation, recent past, likely future, what's underlying that, and message from spirit. And these all kind of go together here. And I'll kind of move them around to get them all in the camera a little bit better. Okay, so we have the current situation. So the 7 materials card, this is about in this deck, the black and white stripes are like movement forward. And so what's happening in this picture is the person has been doing well. Like I think of materials as being like the world you create for yourself, that the walls you surround yourself with. It's like, it can also be your health. It can be your physical body. It's your home. It's the events you choose to go to, the clothes you choose to wear, whatever. So this person is doing a good job, like doing their thing, doing their craft, however it is that they create their world. But they're taking a pause because they tore their dress a little bit. So it's basically, this card is about this will take shape, but just kind of what we're starting with is you're doing a good job doing your thing, but it's time to kind of pause and assess and look for any fine tuning. So it's saying that's the current situation, is this kind of need to do a kind of fine tuning. And in the recent past, we've got the 3 of materials. So this is about collaboration. And once again, we have the black stripes of that movement. And so it's kind of this weaving together of collaboration. And this can be family, it can be friends, it can be coworkers, but it's basically creating something in the physical world together. So it's saying the fact that that's flowing into this, it feels like whatever that is, that collaborative process, that it's time to pause and kind of evaluate and see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked. The fact that we're getting these 3 cards, so the Muse of Voices is the equivalent to the King of Swords. So this is about really kind of holding it down for yourself as far as your authentic expression. It can be like being very boundaried, speaking up, maybe when you feel kind of nervous to speak up. So the message from spirit is like to really feel into finding your voice without being too controlling. Like this person is also really holding tightly to that like kite. So it's also about not holding too tightly. That's kind of like the shadow side. So kind of how can you stand in your boundaried, full voice self without being too controlling? And the fact that you got that with these 2 cards, it's saying in the near future, Ace of Emotions is like a new cycle. Like, look at this. It's like they're birthing into this new version of themselves or new way of relating to others. So it's making me think, because you're getting that, and then underneath it is the Strength card. And this is a major arcana card. So this is saying this is whatever is happening to you. This is a big part of what your soul is here to do. So thinking about the context of what I was talking about in the introduction, where it's like noticing what is coming up right now. What are the challenges that make you emotional? And that'll give you information for what it is that is time for you to step into, to release. So with that in mind, what's underlying this is it's inviting you into this very, like, it's like a soft fierceness, a quiet fierceness, a fierceness that's so embodied, so like inner anchored that it doesn't even always need to be loud. It can be. One thing I really like about this card is you can see that, and this pops up in probably almost every strength card, is there's an infinity symbol that this person's holding. And that infinity symbol, that the same pattern goes around the moon. So like that inner knowing, that intuition, that connection to the spirit realm, and then that same energy is going down the nose of this beautiful lion. And then in the back we have a pyramid, which is like a bridge between the three-dimensional and the cosmos. So it's grounded but very connected to the infinite. So that's what's underlying this. So what it feels like is there's been some challenges with whatever this project is you're working on, and it's time to pause for you to assess what needs to happen. And I really see you coming into this like more of like a full grounded inner strength expression, like how you interact with these folks. And then the message from Spirit extra, these bonus cards that came out, the Six of Inspiration, this is about, or the six, aka the Six of Wands, aka this is really about this being recognized for what you bring. Like this is basically really basking in, like, with humility, you know, but like being like, yeah, you know what, I've done a lot here. Like, so it's other people acknowledging and seeing how much you've done, like how awesome you are. And I'm noticing, I've never noticed this before, it's got those same dotted white lines that are like outlining their cloak and their hair, that the same lines that are in the Strength card. And then also getting the Five of Materials card. So this is the card that I was just talking to one of my good friends about how this card, like how much they hate it when this card comes up. And I was like, this card comes up so much. Like, I feel like this is the card that captures humaning for most of us, which is this feeling that like we're locked out of the kingdom or the garden, you know, the more the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that so many of us were exposed to tarot through. It's the one that has the people, I think it has like a parent and their child like locked out of the church or something in the snow, but it's a church, like the door is unlocked to them, they just don't realize it. And so the part of the medicine here for you is to really, well, it's making me think like those who you choose to be in collaboration with, you want to make sure that they really honor the work that you do, that they honor and respect the work that you do. And also to remember that you deserve, like as every being does, like you're being taken care of and held in the material ways, like being in community, being surrounded in spaces where you do feel held, that is your birthright. And so to remember that if you get that feeling of that you are locked out, just to remind yourself that that's just not true, and to go towards places where you feel seen and acknowledged. So let's look at your the spell here. Oh yeah, and I also want to pull in this card. So I embrace the all. It's got all these geometric shapes. So I'm not sure how that fits in yet. I want to see the spell, and we'll see if that helps answer that. So these are tarot cards. So they have the four suits and the major arcana that we inherited from the deck that I hate always saying all three of their names. But anyway, so it's just a regular tarot deck. But like I said, the angle is that these are each associated with a spell. And I'm just getting to know the book. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to have to open. Oh, okay. This card wants to come out. Ooh, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, let me show you the card a little stronger, and then I'll look at what the associated spell is. So I can say, like, I just want to say quickly, before I go to the book and look at the spell aspect. Sorry, I got to get a drink of water here. The Knight energy is, there's a lot of, like I always think of the Knight as when a lot of us, when we first move out of, oh no, that's the page, sorry. The Knight energy is more like, what are you committed to? When you think of the world that you create for yourself, like the Knight is committed to the kingdom or the queen or whatever. So what are you committed to in the world that you create for yourself? So that's part of the spell right there, I can tell you, is to pray for that, to write it down, to integrate in your daily practices what you are committed to in whatever it is that you whatever it is you want to be in collaboration, who you want to be in collaboration with. Okay, so I'm going to look at what the spell is here for the Knight of Pentacles. Let's see. Oh man, this is one of those off-gassy decks. It does not smell too good, but I like the deck. Okay, so Knight of Pentacles. What is the spell? Okay, so it says, first of all, it says you can use it in meditations to help you think clearly and practically whenever you're struggling to formulate the best plan of action. So it can kind of go with this pause here. It can also be used in environmental protection and healing magic, and is excellent for sending a spirit of protection to help guard and to defend whomever, whatever, or wherever is in need. That's interesting. So it's also, that's kind of making me think of this boundaries card. And that could be for yourself, or it could be for others. Maybe it means speaking up for others. And so I embrace the all. Trying to think how this fits into this. I mean, to me, I feel like what I'm getting, I mean, this is my association with the card. So, what I feel is there's all these things that happen. It kind of feels like a reminder of sort of like also the higher perspective, you know, as far as, like I was saying with Mercury in retrograde, I kind of started to go into this sort of downwards, like I could feel the downward spiral calling to me, as far as feeling like all of my kind of wounds pop up around a fear of hurting others or being a bother, or like feeling like I'm going to be rejected, or seeking like external validation. So for this, I embrace the all. It kind of feels like embracing whatever the challenges are. They really are opportunities for our soul, what we're trying to really, the hurdles we're trying to get over, the wounds that we're turning into the gifts, or that which helps us heal, help others. So I feel like it's like embracing all of the challenges, as far as like this, like whatever's happening that is challenging. Like if you can just look at what is happening that can point out something that can kind of like transmute, alchemize what seems really bad into something that's helpful for what you're here to do. Yeah. Okay, so I feel like this really is kind of good for all of us during this time. It's a really good one. Okay, thank you, group number 1. I'm going to switch over to group number 2 here. So here, this number 2. I affirm that all life is sacred. I love these cards. So we'll pull that in a little bit later here into your reading. I'll just mix these in. Okay, and I'll go ahead and hold it up for you to look at. It's so beautiful. I affirm that all life is sacred. I'll put that up in the corner for your kind of vibe setting here. So what is it that would be helpful to you right now during this eclipse season and Mercury in retrograde, considering the context of where we're at in time and space, politically and environmentally? What would be helpful to you? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to see, this is how these cards are shuffling, is literally capturing how it's like capturing the vibe of Mercury in retrograde. Come on. There we go. It's like it just takes rolling with it, laughing at ourselves sometimes, being the clumsy humans that we are. Let's see, this card wants to come out, the Fool card. Okay. Worrying about this one. Okay, so I'm going to do the 5 card spread that I like to do. Okay, so current situation, recent past, likely future, what's underlying that, and message from Spirit. Okay, wow, we're getting some... It's always interesting to see the themes that come up, you know, because we're all having our individual experiences, but we're also in the collective, you know, having a shared experience. So starting off here in the middle, so the current situation is, so the Knight of Voice, the Knight is, to me, very much like, what are you committed to? Like the Knight is committed to the kingdom or the queen or whatever. And so for you, this is like, what are you committed to as far as your full expression? So this would be the Knight of Swords if it were in a more traditional deck. And one thing I really like about this card is that the horse is flying. So thinking about like there can be all these things that burden us or hold us down as far as our full expression. But if we can, it's kind of this combination of effort and surrender. You know what I mean? Because the horse, in order to get flight, if a horse could fly, it needs to run and then kind of surrender and let that wind, the air kind of pick it up. And then I can just imagine the relief and feeling of that. And the Knight also has energy around bravery, adventure, new, like being in new spaces. This is a very, it's a powerful one. Swords are very powerful. So that's saying this is the current situation. So it might be you really stepping into this sort of like heroic, committed, giving voice to how you're feeling, or you're on the edge of wanting to do that. The recent past, the Ace of Inspiration or the Ace of Wands, these are little seeds up here. And you can see it's very much connected to this person's third eye. And it's coming down. I'm noticing it's coming down into their throat, which is interesting, like having that be the card before voices. So it's feeling like a lot of inspiration to give voice to something. So that was in your recent past. So it feels like that is kind of like, it feels like the fuel that's really leading into this Knight of Voices. So I think I'm going to do, I want to do this one next. So this is what's kind of underlying all of these. The 10 of Inspiration. So this is also the 10 of Wands. So you got another wand, 2 wands here. So this is about, it can be burdened, like you can be feeling burdened. It can be burnout, overwhelm. This card is the medicine, the recommendation in this is to remember you're not alone, to allocate, to ask for help, to, excuse me, to see if there's anything in your choice that you can let go of. Sometimes we think we have no choice, but then on reflection, we're like, oh, wait, I inherited that belief that that was something I had to carry, but maybe it's something you can set down. You don't need to carry anymore. You can just cut it free. Another way to think of this card, I have another deck where it's somebody in a boat where there are things that you could toss over the side of the boat, like just to let it go and let it sink. So that's what's underlying this, okay? And then it says in your future, this is like very much community or family harmony. You can see these people are like dancing and it's really fueling this sort of like multi-dimensional sun shape. So kind of putting this together, this definitely feels like whatever is going on for you right now. There's really, it's saying that when you, like, you really stepping into this role is going to help bring harmony to your community. And some of the medicine here is to, just make sure you're not taking on too much, and to share and or release where you can, like what can be released. Yeah, this is, I mean, this is really cool because the message from Spirit, this is kind of like the world you create for yourself. Let's see, we've got materials, voices, and emotions. Let's see, did you get all, oh yeah, you've got all 4 elements. So we've got, so fire, air, water, earth. And then really you could say this is ether. Like the Fool is very like, like kind of like still feeling into the multidimensional. Like kind of, you think of like a child before they're too burdened by the 3-dimensional weights of being in a human body. So the message from Spirit is basically like, whatever you want to have happen right now, you can bring it into fruition. Like it's almost like a magician card. And the Page, the Knight, and the Fool all they share this energy of, I would say, kind of like optimistic enthusiasm, actually not burdened. You know, there's kind of like this lightness, and there's a lot of energy here. And this too feels like a lot of energy, and this feels like a lot of energy. It just feels like a lot of movement, and kind of like, it's making me think of the Magician card. So in the Magician card, it shows all of the elements, and that card is reminding you that of your agency, and we all are creators. And that you got this extra bonus card is really, I would say, don't be surprised for kind of like miraculous things to happen when you do give voice to these seeds that you're like receiving from the cosmos that want to come out your throat. That there is just so much that can happen with that. To just be let yourself just be surprised that you just have no idea what's going to happen. Wow. Super cool. So, I mean, the shadow side of these things, it can be like imposter syndrome, feeling overwhelmed. And so a lot of like with the imposter syndrome, these can really feeling into that feeling of childlike enthusiasm and being open to, like, basically if you get burdened by imposter syndrome, or your brain being like, oh, there's no way that could work, to just, the medicine is to come into that kind of optimistic enthusiasm and to rely on others, you know, to not feel like you're all alone in whatever it is that, like if it feels burdensome or heavy, it's really, it's just really encouraging you to step into whatever it is you want to bring to life. Okay, so let's look at what the spell is for this. And let's bring this energy in a little bit more too. So I affirm that all life is sacred. Okay, so I'm going to draw one of these. Okay, this one wants to come out. Oh my God, you got the Fool again. Wow. Okay, so yeah, whatever you are on the edge of doing, bringing to life, it feels like that is what's going to support you in this difficult time. And like, just as far as also like your contribution, like when we step into when we get aligned with what it is we're ultimately committed to, like what is it that you are committed to, and that will give you the kind of guts and gusto to bring in, to give birth to whatever this thing is you've planted, and to really feel into that energy of the Fool, which is, it's not, I mean, the Fool is humility. It's a willingness to step into the unknown. It's a willingness to trust in the universe. And what I just love, what I just keep getting, is to just let yourself expect to be surprised in the best possible ways, and that you don't always know exactly how things are going to shake out. And I affirm that all life is sacred. This really feels like reminding you to that the, you know, like how we weren't given, most of us, especially those of us who have been impacted by colonization and are occupiers ourselves, who've been part of it for a long time, that getting pushed out of our relationship to the earth. So I affirm that all life is sacred. This is about giving thanks. This is about, you know, eating with consciousness and mindfulness and gratitude, and plugging into that, like, is that the word, reciprocity, with all that we receive from the earth and from others and from our bodies. So I see this as part of what will really help you is that feeling of praise of life and how sacred it is, and to spend time with it. Okay. I love it when there's a double draw. Oh, I forgot to look at what I wanted to look at get to know the Spellcasters book. So what would be your spell for the Fool? Okay. So it says it's good for use in magic to move past worry or doubt, to clear your head before or after rituals, to let go of attachments, to increase one's boldness, or to bring cheer and lightheartedness. So those are the ways in which you can use that as a spell. And so if you have tarot, a tarot deck, you can put that particularly the Fool card on like your altar, or just sit with it in meditation, kind of feel into the energy of the Fool, and even develop, you know, your own relationship with it instead of what the books say. Okay, beautiful. So now group number 3. Let's bring your card in. Care for the earth. Sorry, I'm trying to get it even there. Okay, there we go. And in that card we have, they're holding an egg with a snake coming out of it. So this is kind of your initial vibe to your spread. And part of your medicine here. Okay, let's see if I can shuffle these cards. They're hard to shuffle, and shoot, this card, I feel like kind of popped out at me. Okay, dang it, that one keeps showing up, so I'm gonna do that one too. I'm only saying dang it because we don't want to end up with too many cards here. I don't have much space in my camera. That's the one thing about tarot, that when you get more comfortable, and I don't know, for me, the more I get comfortable, the more some of them like literally just pop, you know, like shine a little brighter. They want you to hear them. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go with this one. Okay, so your bonus cards, you got 8 of emotions, or cups, if it were in a more traditional deck, and then 7 of voices, aka 7 of swords. So let's just kind of set those aside for a second. We'll bring them back in. Okay, so current situation, the muse of materials, or the king of materials, Ace of Inspiration. Okay, that card got drawn literally in the last spread in the same position. Likely future. What's underlying these? The Tower. Eight of Voices. Okay, holy crap. This is a really powerful spread. Let me get some more water here, because I'm about to talk a lot more. Okay, so the Muse of, so these are all kind of like from Spirit. Okay, so we'll kind of get to those, but I'm going to start out with kind of what's happening. And just noticing here, you've got the Tower card, which I know some people really don't like. I love it. In fact, when like all four of, like, yeah, I love a lot of these cards. Okay, so the current situation is the Muse of Materials. So the Muse would be the equivalent of the King in a more traditional deck. And you can see there's like a little person walking on that walkway, a bridge, and they're like kind of walking towards this like beautiful place. And there's a lot of balance. We've got balance here supporting. So this is you walking across. So the Muse of Materials is very much about like holding it down, like it's about boundaries, asserting what it is that you want to have in your reality. Yeah, like there's so much of this energy right now, as far as like so many people are like, they're just being like, there's a lot of no's. We do not want that. So this has a lot of energy around like a very protective parent saying no, and holding it down for what it is that you want. And so this can be politics, this could be land, the like relationship to land, this can be your home, your body, where you go. It's like the walls that surround you. So the current situation is there's a lot of this kind of like boundaried, holding it down energy. Okay. The recent past, the Ace of Inspiration, or this would be the Ace of Wands in a traditional deck. So these are seeds. Excuse me. And you can see these seeds, this inspiration is coming from the cosmos down into their third eye and coming down through their throat. So in the recent past, it's like you're ready to plant new seeds for what it is you want to create in your life. And they feel very like kind of divinely inspired, you could say, from like your higher self, your soul. Right now, I don't really think anything is light. Everything we choose to do, all the things we're being called to do, they're the biggest thing. It's kind of like everything. I don't know about you, but I mean, I feel like this is the time that I was meant to be born. Like this is it right now. Everything that's happened is leading up to this. So this is no small thing right now. Whatever it is you're being inspired, whatever seeds you're being inspired to do, this is no small thing. And as far as that flowing into the Muse of Materials, it's like those seeds that are being planted right now, it's really about boundaring that space for them to grow. And yeah, this is huge, whatever you have going on here. Because like I hardly even know where to go next because it's just so big and major. So I'm going to go with what's underlying all this. So underlying all of this is the Tower card. So this is about the old structures crumbling. And this is the theme of everything right now. This is, it's like when things crumble, it can be disorienting and kind of confusing because it's like, what are seeds are we planting? As we move into this, after post crumble, what are we moving into? So whatever is going on for you right now is huge. It's huge breaking down of all old things. But what's beautiful is underneath all that breaking down are these seeds that you're planting, these boundaries of fuck no and fuck yes, as far as like what it is you want to plant. So that's happening. And then in the near future, whatever seeds you're planting, it's this card, this is you. And these are the challenges of expressing the truth of what it is, these seeds, the things you want to grow. Those are the challenges of like maybe people's opinions, maybe it's some of the I don't know how that's going to happen, like, you know, the challenges of bringing something into fruition. But this is saying that you're being divinely like carried across, you're being supported, and that could be from all of the above or all of the below, which is family, friends, community, spirit, healed and well ancestors, the earth, you know, whatever you find that's like not just you alone is going to help carry you across that. So whatever it is you're planting, whatever it is you're boundaring, like creating boundaries for, you're going to be held across, you're going to be held into these things coming to fruition, to grow. So tying into all of that. So here we have the Tower, the crumbling. So the cards from Spirit, let's bring these down in. You got 3 here. So this is like, whew. Okay, so you got the 7 of Voices and the 8 of Voices, and you also got the 6 of Voices. This is cool too. You got 2 8s that are kind of like the bookends of the Voices card, and 8 is that the Strength card is 8. It's also 2 4s, which is the Emperor card, and you also got the King energy. So there's a lot of very stable boundary or like oriented energy in this reading. And so yeah, so if you kind of bring these together, what's being centered here is you need to be discerning. So this card is, you can see there's kind of like a shadow side underneath. So this is kind of like the card of deceit or lies or dishonesty. So this can be, it's kind of like there's a secret in the room. And this might be the fact that you got so many Voices cards. It could be that you're not expressing your honest full self. It could be that somebody around you is not aligned with your best interest at heart. So there's something that's not in alignment. There's like a truth that needs to come into alignment. And so it might mean you need to walk away from a situation. It might mean that you might want to come forward in a more honest expression of who you are. So looking at these 2 8s, remembering that these are connected to the Strength card, which is an 8. This one is about you're being invited into, I've got another deck where it would have like a little sun, a little teeny fire right here that you can kind of put your hands on and keep you a little bit warm, or that you could think about as being your life force. It's this little fire, but you know that fire, it's a comfortable fire. And if you walk away from the fire, it means you're going to be in the cold for a while. You may not be able to see, but what you're walking towards, if you step into that courage, is you're walking towards the sun. So if you go from that little fire to the sun, your full expression of your soul's full expression. And here this card is capturing as far as like when you walk away, it's this eclipse. Ooh, and we're in eclipse season. So it's covering the sun right now. And so it means you may not be able to see like what you're exactly walking towards, but this is very much like, it's almost like you have no choice but to walk away from something that's not quite right. And then here, the 8 of Voices, this card is about agency again. This is a card about feeling like you're trapped, like you're bound. You cannot be in your full expression. It's like, it could be a belief you inherited. It could be just, trying to survive when you're a kid, or something you could have inherited ancestrally, or just from your own life experiences, or from the culture that's surrounding you. You think you're trapped and that you can't be in your full expression. But this card reminds you that actually you're not trapped. It's like an old belief, something that needs to crumble and fall apart. Part of that is wrapped into this old belief, old patterns, conditioning, all these things that you think trap you. You're not actually trapped. So, yeah, it just feels like really huge movement for you. And it's like a new cycle. and that you're being supported in that, because you not only got the breakdown, you also are getting the seeds. So you're planting something new, and it's held in a lot of really sturdy, strong, like when I say divine masculine, that energy of like really holding space and supporting whatever it is that you're creating. So it's very held, and it's really, you're also just it's being brought in this like to just be really discerning, look for any dishonesty or secrets and what could come into more alignment, and that you're being held in this, you're being supported. Okay, so now let's do a spell card. So this is a regular tarot deck. It's just that the particular angle of this deck is that you can use tarot cards for spell casting, for making magic in your life, for agency, for coming into letting go of like beliefs that you are small. Yeah, and because I usually use them, I can't remember if I said this in the introduction, but this is the deck I usually use, and these are the cards that I just did here. The angle of this deck is like kind of inspiring you towards the direction of your soul's full expression, and then this other deck is more like spells. So let's pull these apart and get your card. Okay, got this one. Oh, you got another. This is the King. You got the Muse of Materials, or the King of Pentacles, and now you got the King of Wands. So you're getting, it's more of this energy of really holding it down. Let's look and see what the spell is. It's very much a energy of stability, boundaries, like a loving, protective parent. Let's see here. Sorry, it's taking a while. I'm still getting to know the order in this book. Okay, so what's the spell here? Using spells to improve confidence, establish authority, or to gain respect for one's ideas and experience. It can also be used to represent the idea of established success that has been built up over time. Reversed, used to topple an ineffective or corrupt leader. Okay, so as far as using tarot as spells, that means if you have a tarot deck at home, you could, if you wanted to, like the way it's suggested in this deck is that you take that card and you put it like on your altar, put it by where you sleep, and you really feel into the energy of that card. So for example, if for you, you're like, I really resonate with using this to build confidence, that's the spell you want to invoke. You could put that maybe by your bed to soak it in, or like meditate with it. And then if there's like a leader you want to topple or something, you could put it upside down on your altar, and you're just kind of imagining that leader falling and being composted into the earth, being their energy, their place of power being reversed upside down. Excuse me. So that's how you can play with tarot cards as spells. And then here, this card you got, I Care for the Earth, like thinking about the original intent and context for this, for these readings, and thinking about how so many of us just weren't taught how to navigate tough times, how to be grounded in ourselves, how to be in like relationship with the earth and with spirit. This card, I Care for the Earth, it just really feels like you will, and you know, this is for all of us. It's just such a great reminder that when you care for the earth, that it helps give you this sort of like stable kind of continuity of a thread through your life and through your body that can make you feel more grounded, held, less like it can give, you know, it kind of gives this feeling of how does it feel to me? To me it just feels like an inner grounding, like inner anchoring. And it feels like that's just what's really neat, is that kind of inner anchoring, because all these things that are blowing us around, making us feel powerless, angry, all those things, it helps us feel our emotions. It helps us get through things. It helps us not spiral down into hopelessness or harm to ourselves, like as far as how, if, yeah, just how spun out or rattled or hopeless we can feel. Caring for the earth, just kind of, it's something that nobody can take away from us, that connection to the earth. So I hope that those readings are useful to you all, and thank you so much for listening. And yeah, just sending you all lots of care, and check the notes. I'll put I need to remember to do this, and I will remember to do this time. I'll put the decks that I'm using, and also a couple of resources that I found helpful during the Mercury in retrograde and just being in the eclipse season. Okay, take care, and thank you for listening and watching. Bye.